Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of 5 Minute Major Radio. Dave here, along with my broadcast partner in crime, Matt Mr. Giovanni. Matt, how's it going this evening?
It's going good. I got pasta sauce on my shirt, so that's the only downfall of right now. But I don't know if you can see it, but
No, I can't see it on
it's
my end,
it's
so we're
there.
good. The
So
YouTube viewers will not see your spilled pasta sauce. You're fine.
sounds good.
Um, but other than that, tonight I'm coming from my brand new apartment slash studio, which thanks to Matt, he was a big help Saturday, helping me and my girlfriend, lovely Brenda Wolf, give a shout out, move in. Without him, we wouldn't have our entertainment center set up. So thank you, Matt.
No problem.
Um, So yeah, hockey season is upon us officially. The NHL starts tomorrow night. The Flyers concluded their preseason action yesterday afternoon in Matt, a less than thrilling effort. It was
Yeah,
typical Flyer. They dropped a 4-3 result to the Swiss National League Lausanne team, a team that got lit up by another Swiss League team.
the
Uh,
Lions.
yeah, the Lausanne Lions. They got lit up in their last Swiss National League game, and well, the Flyers came in, Matt, and they just flyered it. They played down to their opponent for about the first period and about the first half of the second period, and they're like, "Oh wait, we can hockey and we're better than this team." And but then by that point, it was too little, too late. You're playing on bigger Olympic ice, and you left Carter Hart out to dry, but there's some things there with the bigger ice, with Olympic size ice versus NHL size ice. You're going to have goalie issues because of the angles that they have to read the plays on. It's much more of a perimeter game, so there's differences in the game there versus how they're played. But based on overall skill, this Philadelphia Flyers team on paper is much, 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 much better, and they should have dominated the entire 60 minutes. And the fact they didn't was unacceptable. And definitely, you can tell by Alain Vigneault's quotes that came out after the game yesterday and earlier this morning that he was not pleased with this team's effort. Um, Overall, Matt, I'll just close my thoughts on the game and I'll let you give yours on it. I mean, overall, am I disappointed? Yes, I'm very disappointed because this should have been a win. But at the end of the day, did it really matter? No, not really. Maybe it mattered for a couple of the kids who got sent down to the Phantoms. We can discuss that later in today's episode. But at the end of the day, the Flyers played it like it was a true exhibition game, and no one got hurt. So I guess those are positives. Would it have been nice to see a win? Yes, but I'm hoping and counting on the fact that come Friday in Prague against the Chicago Blackhawks to start the regular season, the Flyers are going to come out much stronger and better.
Yeah, I mean, it's safe to say that this is probably the worst meaningless game that I've ever watched for the Flyers. Um, you talk about excitement, special stage for the Flyers coming in, playing in that NHL Global Series. Just obviously not just representing Philadelphia, but representing the NHL. They come in and they lay an egg and go down by 4 goals. Not even a period and a half in. They look like they have not even played a game in the last, 6 months. And I mean, there was a lot of excitement surrounding this game, regardless if it was an exhibition game or not. I mean, it's cool. Like I said, it's cool to see the Flyers and any NHL team go, I guess, not across the pond, but obviously, I guess, across the pond to Europe to play a European team. And they were just the Flyers were the Flyers. And I do have a quick shameless plug that I will have an article on this game coming out tomorrow for Sports Talk Philly. So
Not a big deal.
getting back in the column game. But yeah, and I mean, there's I want to nitpick this, but I also just want to put it behind me as the team should do. But the three things I will say that I touch on in my article is that it was the typical Flyers. It's the stuff that we saw all last season where, first of all, they came out completely flat. They looked out of sync, out of whack. They couldn't get any offensive pressure going, nothing. They gave up the game's first goal. In this case, they gave up the game's first 4 goals. And then, again, the slow, what is it? I said slow starts, yeah. And then also, number 3, special teams. So, if I'm correct, they went scoreless on the power play, and then again at times the penalty kill just looked passive. And they gave up 2 power play goals against them, And the one goal, the guy was just able to walk right in and just rip one past Hart. So, I mean, there's a lot that you can take away from this game, and I'm sure the coaching staff was looking at this game going, what the hell happened? Like, we're the Flyers, and this is like a Swiss National League team. But like you said, the Flyers played down to them, and they almost it was embarrassing for, I would think, for the team and for, I mean, me as a fan. It was like, you think that they would at least make it a game, and they made it interesting for what, the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Like,
at that point, I had the game off because I was, I had to leave
yeah,
work early,
yep.
so it was like,
And I mean,
yes,
it's one of the, and like I said, like it was the Flyers of last year where they weren't bad. They were just flat out like unentertaining. Like, they just looked like the supposed, and I'm quoting my article hardcore here because I just wrote it, but
that's fine, that's fine.
the supposed new look Flyers looked exactly the same as they did the last, like, probably 5 years, honestly, where, like I said, they came out completely flat. They gave up the first goal. They had to play catch up the entire game, and ultimately they make it interesting, but they fall short, and that's exactly what the Flyers were all last year for the most part, and they had that on display in Switzerland. Now, again, there could be a lot of factors where, I mean, travel, I'm sure, was a factor. The guys are probably, it's what, I don't know, it's probably over a 10-hour flight, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
The time difference. I mean, I don't want to accuse them of maybe playing guilty, but who knows about all that. Um,
Maybe partying the
but
night before you're in
and also,
Switzerland.
like, the bigger ice, like, is a factor as well. So, but I mean, again, it's one of those things where it's ultimately a meaningless game. Like you said, no one got hurt, except for hope. I was hoping Konechny didn't get hurt on that one play when he went
Oh,
into the
that would
boards.
have been horrific.
But I mean, it's just one of those things where, like, it's the last preseason game, and it's like this, the guys that they had on the ice, with the exception of a couple people that we'll touch on later, like, this is the team that we have this season, and they can't even beat a non NHL team. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's not worrisome, but it's also worrisome at the same time.
It's funny. The Flyers have a history of playing down to non-NHL opponents.
Yep.
In 1999, they lost to the Philadelphia Phantoms in almost an inter-squad league game. That
Yeah.
year, the Flyers then went on to the Eastern Conference Final.
Yep.
Then in 2008, the Flyers then also lost to the Phantoms at the final game at the Wachovia Spectrum.
Yeah. I was at that game.
To be fair, Antaron Nemaki was the starting goalie for the Phantoms in that game. And yet again, they lost, and that team was pretty good. That was my senior year of high school, so holy crap, I'm old. And then three now this game against the Lions yesterday. So it's at the end of the day, like, the stats weren't even kept, like, official. Like, no one will have, like, there'll be a record that the Lions beat the Flyers 4-3, but, like, literally none of the other stats were kept, to my knowledge. At
Yeah.
least that's what I was seeing circulated on the Twitter sphere yesterday afternoon. So at the end of the day, it was overall just, was it nice to have, like, a full Flyers broadcast back, and cool as the Global Series? Of course, yes, because anytime the Flyers, and therefore Comcast, who own the Flyers, get the Flyers brand out there, it's good for the city and it's good for the team because it's going to mean more money in their pockets. At the end of the day, with more money in their pockets means more money for free agents, and it's better for the game of hockey. So was it cool? Yes. Would have been better if they'd won? Yes again. But Matt, I think if you have anything else to touch on this game, we can move on.
Yeah, I'd like to move on, as should the Flyers.
Yes, agree. So that being said, that leads into Friday. Well, of course, starting tomorrow, the NHL is officially back. We'll touch on those games of the schedule tomorrow, and I am sure both of us will be up late watching some hockey tomorrow night, of course. But Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, in Prague, Czech Republic, Jake Voracek's hometown, the Flyers open up the 2019-2020 regular season of hockey. But before we touch on that game happening Friday, the Flyers announced their opening night roster. And I'll go over that roster real quick and just announce that Joel Farabee and Philippe Myers were both sent down to the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Almost said Philadelphia Phantoms. They were at one point the Philadelphia Phantoms. But yeah, overall, Matt, we can just touch on Myers and Farabee real quick, going down to the Phantoms. Myers looks like he needed some more time. He looks like a bona fide NHL player in the rookie game and early on in preseason and definitely last season. But as the preseason games shifted more to more and more NHL players coming in, it looked like he was going down the depth chart and his play wasn't getting as good. Joel Farabee, pretty much the only thing he didn't do in this preseason was score a freaking goal. He did everything else well. He had a bunch of posts in the last couple of preseason games, and he played well against the Lions yesterday afternoon. So I'm sure a good portion of this the Flyer fan group online especially, are upset about Farabee and Myers being sent down. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have them playing top line minutes with the Phantoms than being, fourth line or scratch with the Flyers.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I think that this roster isn't going to stick for too long because, I mean, you still have to take into the factor about what's going to happen with Pitlick, what's going to happen with Patrick, but
If Chris Stewart signs,
yeah, I mean, but I am surprised that they're going with 7 defensemen, but I mean, yeah, like Farabee and the same thing with Frost. Those are guys, like you said, that you'd rather have them playing top line minutes against the best AHL players rather than having them play low end minutes again in the NHL. So they're used to that kind of higher level of competition, more speed in the game, all that stuff. So it is good to kind of let them, I guess, simmer in the pot for a little longer before they're ready. But I think that I'd say within maybe a couple months, depending on how this current roster does, I wouldn't be surprised to see either of them or both of them on the big club, like I said. But yeah, I mean, factoring in and like a couple guys like Carson Tworinsky, I always have trouble with that name, and then Connor Bunneman. I mean, those guys both stood out really well in the preseason. Definitely earned their spot on the roster, but they're gonna obviously have to keep proving that they belong with the Flyers. Otherwise, I'm sure Vigneault and Fletcher won't hesitate to send them down and then obviously give someone else a chance. So, but yeah, I mean, not a lot that I wasn't expecting on the roster, but like I said, a little surprised to see 7 defensemen and just 11 forwards. So it'll be interesting to see what the line combos are because I mean, you'll have someone, I guess maybe Giroux play center. I don't know, but
we'll see. Um, but going into that lineup, obviously, this is going the forwards: Travis Konechny, Michael Raffle, Kevin Hayes, Sean Couturier, Scott Lawton, Oscar Lindblom, James Van Riemsdyk, Claude Giroux, Carson Turinsky, Connor Bunneman, Jakub Voracek, defenseman Travis Sanheim, Robert Haig, Ivan Provorov, Matt Niskanen, Shane Gostisbehere, Samuel Moran, and Justin Braun. Of course, the 2 goalies,
all right.
Ryan Elliott and Kata Hot.
So let me just interject for a second here, but it looks like they'll have 4 centers and 3 sets of wings. So I would assume Tworinsky and Raffle, I guess, would be rotating with a center.
Interesting.
So, but again, we'll have to see how that all pans out. And then we'll see what the defensive pairs are. I'm assuming Provorov and Niskanen will probably be number 1.
Yeah, then you'll probably have Ghost and Braun, and then it's looking like Travis Sanheim and Robert Haig. You have to think Moran is the 7th defenseman.
Yeah.
I mean, personally,
I don't know.
Personally, I like Moran more than I like Robert Haig. I've liked Moran. I've been higher on Moran than Haig since we drafted Moran.
Yeah.
But Moran's bouts some injury. He's kind of taking longer to cook per se in the oven.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people debate whether is he an NHL defenseman, is he a 7th defenseman, is he an AHL defenseman. We kind of don't really know what Moran is. I think he's too good for the American League at times.
Yeah.
But then where he fits in the NHL is going to be interesting. And maybe do they play all 7th defensemen in one game and swap some out or throw some up on the wing here and there? Who knows? Or they just keep one of the guys as just a scratch. I mean, overall, I really don't have any complaints about the roster. Chris Stewart isn't signed as of yet,
Yeah.
even though Chuck Fletcher was quoted as saying, he's still traveling with the team on his PTO, which he can do. And he talked to his agent saying, we just don't have the cap space to sign you. According to Cap Friendly, right now the Flyers have roughly about $284,000 left in the cap. So I mean, there is a little bit of wiggle room if Chris Stewart is definitely willing to take maybe a league minimum contract. But who knows? And they have 47 contracts out of the 50 contract roster limit. So they do have room for 3 more potentially, but I don't think that's. I'm not sure if that's including the injuries in regarding Patrick Pitlick and Walensky. I'm sure once Andy Walensky is healthy, he's phantom bound. But Matt, just your overall thoughts on this roster and how you think they might do some juggling.
It's tough to talking is hard. Sorry, it's tough to say at this point. I mean, you've had so many guys coming in and out throughout the preseason, and playing the regular season game on Friday obviously is going to be the first test to see how these line combos do, how everyone plays together. The Flyers definitely need to kick it in the ass after Monday's game, so hopefully they'll come out with a little extra oomph and actually start a game fast paced for once. But the only thing I think is that I'm debating whether or not this is too bold of a take, and I'm not even going to say it's a take, but I'll ask your opinion on this. But do you think there's any chance that Elliott starts Friday?
Man, I hope. I mean, God, I hope not. Carter Hart should be your starting goaltender.
Yeah.
I mean, Elliott played. Hart didn't play bad yesterday, but he didn't play great. And then Elliott came in and, he kind of settled things down. I mean, the goalie change kind of is almost what might have changed the momentum of the game and you got the Flyers to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't want to have Elliott be the starter, but we'll have to see how things are going in that regard. I really want Hart to start because it should be starter Hart.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is that again, you have to kind of throw that game away in Switzerland and move on. Where like this is the real deal now, and you want to kind of give the kid get him back on the horse as quickly as possible.
Exactly.
So,
but
I mean,
not
again,
to interrupt, Matt.
Sorry.
But the game in Prague, the arena was adjusted to be NHL ice dimensions.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be playing on NHL regulation ice. So start harder.
Yeah. I mean, again, there's a lot to look back at for the Switzerland game, but then again, you have to realize there's a lot of factors that also were unusual, and one of them obviously being the size of the ice. Mm-hmm. So I mean, and I'm pretty sure the Flyers are already in Prague, and they skated this morning, so they'll have the next 3 days to get used to the obviously NHL ice, which they're already used to, but I'm sure a lot, especially for a goalie, I feel like the bigger ice, especially just for one game, can kind of mess with you a little bit. But and definitely it was an unusual day for Hart, but it's good, I guess, to get that out of the way now than to get it out of the way, because then obviously now this is when I wouldn't say the overreactions are going to come, but the reactions are going to be a lot more pertinent now than they are then, where it's at. You can't say, well, it's only preseason, and so. It's gonna
now. It matters.
This is when it counts. Yeah, now you can get legit. I'm not angry, but you can get you can have a legit opinion now, even though it's only the first game. But based off what we've seen already and what the expectations are, bottom line is I think expectations are high for the Flyers this season, and if they don't come out strong to start this year, then there's going to be lots of talk about it's going to be last year all over again. Why do we have 3 head coaches? A lot of that stuff. But again,
the Wells Fargo Center will be a viatal. If I said that word right. Volatile. Yeah, Jesus, talking is hard, right, Matt? Yeah. A volatile, arena if things start out slow again, because this Philadelphia fan base had enough. Like,
Yep.
Flyers fans are used to Flyers being one of the top tier teams in Philadelphia. And
Yeah.
over the past, 5, 6 years, they haven't been. They're in the bottom. And even Comcast has recognized that. I think that's what brought on a lot of the changes. Is they're like, hey, we used to be up there like with the Eagles. It used to be Eagles and then Flyers, and now it's probably like Eagles and Sixers. So it's definitely gonna be interesting. Um, overall, of course, like, it's definitely gonna matter. I just find it funny how the past couple of years, us Flyers fans have been telling the NHL like, "Hey, can you not have us open up on the West Coast on a weeknight at like 10:30?
Yeah,
Like,
the
could
schedule
could
is
could a,
definitely
can a
not.
normal time be nice?"
Yeah.
And then they
Well,
go, "Oh yeah, here's either your team's gonna go to Prague, and we'll have them play at 2 p.m. on a work day."
yep.
Like, oh, thanks, NHL. Like, yeah, it's cool, but like, man, next, I just want them to open at home, like on the season, on
Well,
like,
I mean, to make things worse, their first 4 games, first 4 or 5 games, they play in Prague. They come home for Wednesday for the home opener next Wednesday, and then they go out west for 4 games against like Calgary, Vancouver, uh, basically they do their Western Canada swing right out of the gate. But again, last year they did go out west to play like San Jose, Arizona, all them. But it's like
Vegas.
why like I would almost rather them go to Prague and then just stay on the road instead of coming home for 1 game and then going right back out on the road. But I don't make the schedule, so. But I mean, again,
Yeah.
it's not going to be an easy start and it's not going to be an easy season because obviously the Flyers have gotten better, but there's been multiple teams, especially in their division, i.e., the Devils and the Rangers, that have gotten better as well. And there's still teams that are good. So it's not going to be an easy start. It's not going to be an easy season, but I'm still excited. Brings me back to my cautious optimism term that I've been
Mm-hmm.
using all summer, and I will continue to use throughout. But other than that, I mean, I think we can kind of move on to what's next. What would you like to move on to?
Yeah. So I mean, guys, it is October. Um, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, the NHL regular season starts tomorrow evening. Um, and there's a couple of really good games slotted to start. There's a total of 4 games tomorrow night. 7 o'clock, you have the annual Toronto Ottawa game. And that's available up in Canada, obviously, or if you have Game Center down here in the States.
Now, I will
Um,
say one thing before you move on. I believe, at least for Comcast, that there is a free preview of the center ice. So people in the States or whoever have Comcast, I don't know how that all works, but for the past few years I've gotten center ice, so I am able to watch like the Canada feed, the Sportsnet feed for that game, which is cool, obviously. But yeah, so keep going.
yeah.
Fun
Then at
fact.
fun facts from Matt are always appreciated. I also have them from time to time. Then 8 o'clock on NBCSN, you have the Washington Capitals versus the St. Louis Blues at the Blues banner raising and home opener. So that I'm sure that game is going to be electric. Also tomorrow, I believe around 8 o'clock, is the Behind the Boards or Behind the Glass episode 2 of Flyers training camp.
That was
So
last night.
that was last night.
Yeah.
Damn, I am behind times. I'll have to see if I can find that on YouTube and watch that tonight.
Yep.
Um,
Take
so
those.
ignore that. I was wrong. Shocking there. Um, yeah, so ignore that. So just Washington St. Louis at 8. And then at 10 o'clock, again for Canadian viewers, the Edmonton Oilers host the visiting Vancouver Canucks, which will be another interesting and fun game. I think Vancouver could be a dark horse team out in the Western Conference this year. And then again, back for American viewers, 10:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC Sports Network. Again, obviously, you have one of the already best rivalries now in the entire league, the Vegas Golden Knights hosting the San Jose Sharks in their home opener. And that game, just based alone on their preseason finale game that was played Sunday night, I believe, where Evander Kane got a suspension for abuse of an official for 3 games, and how that game went, where Anders Dell checked Mark Stone. That game at 10:30, yeah, I think it's going to be a must watch for hockey fans
Oh
if
yeah.
you can afford to stay up late. Matt, what are you looking forward in regards to the schedule? I know personally for the Toronto Ottawa game, Austin Matthews, who's in a little bit of hot water right now. We won't touch on that because that's a touchy subject still. I'm sure if you're a fan of hockey, you know what's going on with Austin Matthews right now. But that Toronto Ottawa game should be electric. It always is. Who knows if we'll see some more sparks there? But I'm interested to watch the Maple Leafs come out full guns blazing there.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really pick a favorite out of these four at this point. I mean, in general, I'm just happy that hockey's back, man. We made it through the off season, made it through the summer. The weather doesn't feel like it. Sadly, it's supposed to be like 90 degrees tomorrow.
Then
But
then back to fall on Thursday, and this
yeah,
weekend it's gonna be
so
gorgeous.
it doesn't feel like hockey season weather-wise. Hopefully, it will soon. I got my hat on just in case it does. But tomorrow night's going to be electric, man. You got like Senators, Maple Leafs at I believe the Scotia Bank Arena is what it's called now for Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah, it's no longer the ACC.
Yep. And then you have obviously the Blues and their banner raising. That's going to be special. It's going to be electric. Canucks Oilers is going to be a good matchup. And then, I mean, it's going to end with Sharks Golden Knights, and that's going to be probably going to be a bloodbath where these teams, obviously, like you said, they met just a couple days ago in their final preseason matchup. Sparks flew, and I'm sure Sparks are going to fly again tomorrow night, where Vegas is pissed off that they lost that playoff series to the Sharks in such dramatic fashion and controversial fashion. So we got a good night of hockey coming at us, and I'm excited. I'm just
My
excited for the roller coaster ride to begin again.
my body is ready.
Yep. I don't know. Uh, my my heart can barely take it no more, as Michael Scott would say from The Office. But the Flyers, man, I don't know. I'm gotta mentally prepare for this team again. So I'm just hoping that they can do well this season. Otherwise, it's gonna be another kind of just meh. So I don't know, but I like it.
Let's hope it's not another meh year. Um, Overall, like, I just share your sentiment. I'm just very excited. We've made it through the doldrums of summer. The Phillies seemed like they might have been a brief slimmer of hope to get us through, and then they just
Nope.
shit the bed. To put it bluntly, fire Gabe Kapler. That's all. And it's good to have the Eagles back, obviously. But they've been kind of had a lackluster start the season at 2-2.
Yeah.
But I'm just happy overall. Hockey's back. I can't wait to watch my first hockey game on my big 4K TV in my living room. Now I'm very, very excited for that regard.
Yeah.
But now, Matt, anything for Jersey Watch that you're looking to talk about for jerseys coming out?
So we do have one that came out, I believe, yesterday. Let me just pull it up here. I think this was the most recent one. I haven't seen any other ones, but this isn't really a new jersey. It's more of a comeback, a return. The Anaheim Ducks are bringing back the orange Mighty Ducks jersey, the orange and gold.
Oh, really?
It looks like they'll be wearing it for, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, I believe 12 games this season. It's a nice hybrid between one of their more recent third jerseys and also the classic Mighty Ducks logo. So it's a nice jersey, but again, it's nothing new. I have seen rumblings on Twitter that the Bruins are set to unveil a third jersey, I believe, sometime this week. So I'm interested to see how that looks. Also, if you haven't seen it yet, the Predators released their shoulder patch logo for their Winter Classic jersey, and that looks sweet. So I'm excited to see what their actual jerseys are going to look like for that. But, and then also, sorry, another one, Jersey Watch has been crowded this week. I just haven't been on top of it. The Dallas Stars are also part of the Winter Classic this upcoming season, and they did a little video kind of teasing what their logo and their jersey might be inspired by for that outdoor game. So, Jersey Watch, stay tuned, and we'll decide whether these jerseys are going to be hot or not. when the time comes, but that's all I got for now.
Yeah. So, Matt, anything you want to touch on in closing night before we wrap up this pod? A little bit quick, just because there hasn't been too much to talk about. But going forward, before I'll throw it to Matt for his closing thoughts, we are now back to weekly episodes. Of course, as always, you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, and now YouTube. So, Matt, do you have any thoughts in closing?
Um, I'll say this, and I'll say it enthusiastically, not enthusiastically, but I'll say this and this only, and that hockey is back.
Awesome. Yes, hockey is indeed back. Matt and I also, besides being back next week for a new pod, we will also be in attendance at the Flyers home opener against the New Jersey Devils, welcoming back Wayne Simmons. I will cheer him once, then boo him the rest of the night because he betrayed us. But other than that, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, available on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. That'll be it for tonight's episode. We will be back next week. Hockey's back, and let's go Flyers.